recently went to cosmetology school, and I just graduated 2 weeks ago, and it was really an experience that I never imagined that I would have. I definitely had a great, growing, experiencing, epic experience. And I said experiencing in the description. Yes, I did. But it was something that I never imagined, and I'm really grateful for it. Started off, it was kind of cliquey. I didn't really like it. Like literally, like the first day, I was like, "Oh, they're about to be a group. They're about to be a group. I don't want to do it." Like I was nervous going in because I have social anxiety, and I really am not huge on groups of girls. I've been burned before by groups of girls my entire life, pretty much. And I come from a house full of women. I have 3 sisters, that and a brother, but I have 2 sisters that I grew up with, and I lived in a house with my mom and my 2 sisters. So I've definitely been burned before, by women, and I know from living with the women in my family that my ability to self-advocate wasn't always that great. So, say that to say this, I was a little nervous going into it. I also knew that the girls would be young. They would be the age of a lot of my clients. And I came from the mental health industry, and switching over to cosmetology, while it has a lot of similarities, it also has a lot of differences, and people don't really understand why you would leave and why you're here. And even getting the grant that I got, I had a little pushback, but I was able to justify it and tell people, listen, this has been a passion of mine longer than I've even known what psychology was. Love hair. I love it. On my first day, I felt a little nervous, a little anxiety, and the school that I went to was really good at just inclusivity and like making everyone feel a part, because at the end of the day, we're all here for the same thing, and we have that one thing in common, if nothing else. So we might as well learn how to work together and learn from each other and build with each other. And so started off a little rocky. So I had like one like acquaintance and one friend who I considered my friend because I would text her like when we weren't in school, and that's the only reason I considered her a friend. And we did fine for the first like 6 weeks, and then week 7 we kind of just clashed, and there was a little peer mediation, and we talked it out, but it just kind of lingered. The feeling of betrayal that she made me feel never left, so I was never able to fully just be her friend anymore. And so, we live and we learn and we move on. And so I moved on, and I kept hanging out with my other friends and talking to my other friends. And when I say hang out, we weren't like hanging out outside of school. We were hanging out in school, going to lunch together, laughing, joking, texting, and like little group chats or whatever, stuff like that. And having those people, having that support system while you're in school helps you get through it. School went on. I kind of stayed with the same core group of girls. One of my friends was pregnant, so she was going on maternity leave, and when she left, things really shifted, and the friend group shifted a little bit, not a lot. Like, we kind of just, there were 2 groups, and we kind of just emerged into one group. And so there was like 7 of us, and we all hung out and talked and hung out outside of school, and we became a support system for each other. And so when she came back, I was her friend, no matter what. And she helped me through a hard time that I was going through while school was going on. And when she came back, she was in a different class than us, and it was hard for us to kind of get back what we had. Still love her to this day. I still talk to her. She's one of those people who, like, even if you don't talk every day, when you do talk, you just pick up right where you left off. And pretty much all of the friends that I currently have are like that. So, and I'm telling you guys all of this, and none of this is actually school related. So this is just on the social end of being in school. yeah, so when school ended, I kind of felt really sad. Like, I was like, I'm not going to see my girls every day anymore. It's weird. Like, what? So we try to find ways to still hang out and plan things to do and things like that. Like I said, it's only been 2 weeks, but I have social anxiety. I also have separation anxiety. Um, so being pulled away from my friends to move up and move on, it's a blessing and a curse because I don't want to be away from the people who I consider to be my support system. That's all. On the school side, I've always been an academic person. I have a master's degree in psychology. I graduated with a 3.6 GPA. I don't know, like I'm a book person. Like I don't want to say I'm a book person because I don't really like to read. I like to write. I don't like to read. I like to learn, so I like to read as a means to an end, but I don't really, like, don't tell me I have to read 3 chapters by next Thursday. I don't want to read it. I don't do it. So, on the academic end, I was doing pretty well. I never got a grade lower than a 90, except for on one test. And that test haunted me because I couldn't get on the dean's list or the equivalent of the dean's list at that school because of it. It was 1 grade, and it knocked me right out of the running for scholar award or whatever. And it was right in the beginning, too. It was in the first class out of 7 classes. Every other class, the last 7 classes, I got straight A's. Last 6 classes, I got straight A's. So it was really frustrating, but we live and we learn. It's totally fine. So academically, I did okay. I got frustrated in the first class also, to the point of tears, crying, because it's so embarrassing now, but when it was happening, everyone understood my frustration. They were like, yeah, this is buns. It's terrible. So there's this thing called a Marcel iron. It's like a curling iron, but it like rotates, and you have to know how to click, 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 and create curls. And my behind could not do it for the life of me. I just could not. And I was frustrated because I got called out of class while she was teaching it, even though I knew it was something I was nervous about. And so I went and did what I had to do. And then when I came back, everyone pretty much, like, the way it seemed to me, everyone already knew how to use it. And I was the only one that was lost. And so now finals are in like 2 days. She's trying to teach us how to use the Marcel iron so that we can pass our final. And I just missed the whole lesson. So I'm crying, emotional, I'm menstrual, so hormones are all over the place. And so she's one of 2 girls who were older than me in the class. Literally everyone else was younger than me. One of the older girls in the class, she wasn't older like old, she was like a year older than me. She's like, Regina, what's going on? And I told her, like, I'm frustrated, like, I can't get it, and I start crying like a dummy. Not a dummy. Your emotions are not dumb. How you feel is not dumb. But in retrospect, I feel a little dumb. And so I told her, and she came over and she helped me. And that kind of was the culture of the classroom, was when you see somebody who's struggling with something, you just come over and help them. So a lot of people struggling with braids, I helped. If I saw somebody who needed a supply that I had and they didn't, I offered it to, you know what I mean? Like, it was just the culture of the class to be helpful. But that was, I think, the first time that she actually showed me that she was someone I could rely on. And further down the line, towards graduation, when I was practicing for state boards and stuff like that, I had the first panic attack I've ever had in my entire life. And I heard something in my head say, go to that person, that same girl. And so I went to her, and she literally was the perfect person to go to. She calmed me down. She helped me to breathe. And she and I have a lot in common. She was in social work. I'm in psychology. We often work together. Sometimes we do the exact same job. So, yeah. So, say this. Well, on the academic side, school was incredible. And I was proving to people that I was worth, I don't think that's what I want to say. I was not proving to them that I was worth something, but I was proving to myself, I guess, that I was worth something, but I was showing other people that it's possible to pass this class. Like, if I can do it, you can do it, kind of thing. And that made me feel really good. But on the practical side, there were so many things that I did not know. Like, when you're in school, you're doing, she's gonna come here and interrupt me. So academically, I was a sound student. Like, I was secure in being a student. But practically, I struggled a lot. So practically, we were required to do blowouts, which when I started school, I was trash at. Like, I was not good at all. Blowouts, color, bleach, cutting. And it was so, like, cutting. I love my school, and I'm not going to tell y'all where I went because I don't need those problems. I love my school, but cutting was, and I know, now in retrospect that in order to find the shortcuts, you have to know the basis of what you're doing. And so we learned the most complicated techniques for every type of haircut. And it made me feel self-conscious about my ability to do hair. Like, I'm like, this is my passion and I can't do a simple haircut. This is my passion and I can't do a simple blowout. This is my passion and I can't use a curling iron. Like, so I made it my business to get better and better and to practice at home and do what I had to do. Finishing cosmetology school, my biggest struggle was pin curls and finger waves, which were also my biggest struggle in the first class. And so while I'm better now, I still to this day struggle with it. It's something I still need to practice because I have to do it for my state boards, which are coming up in less than 2 months. So what I'm getting at here is that the academics of it all was, it's like easy, but the practical piece was not. And so what I found interesting was when I took my written test for my license, all the teachers were like, you're done, you got it, like, you're gonna pass your state board exam, so, which is the practical part. So now that you passed the written, I'm sure you're mad relieved. And I'm just like, why do they keep saying that to me? But it's because when you go to a technical school, for the most part, you're going to school with people who school wasn't their zhuzh. Like, they hated school for one reason or another. Like, it wasn't interesting, they weren't a strong reader, they weren't a strong test taker, whatever the reason is. I didn't have that experience. I was already book smart. So when I took my exam, I got 102 out of 110 correct. And the 8 that I got incorrect were in the categories that I struggled with during school. So if you were to tell me, okay, take the practical and then take the written, and then I pass the practical first, then I would feel what they're feeling and what they're giving me. But I'm the opposite of what your typical student would be, so I didn't feel the relief that they wanted me to feel. And so I just enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed the opportunity to learn with these people. I enjoyed the opportunity to meet new people, to meet people who were like-minded people. And I'm grateful that it happened at the time that it did. I am 30 years old. When I started school, I was 29. I had a boyfriend. I had no friends because I had a boyfriend, and he kind of took up my entire life. So all my friends were kind of over it. which is understandable because I wouldn't want to hang out with you either all of a sudden because you don't have a boyfriend anymore, because when you did have a boyfriend, you wasn't checking for me. So I get it. And so my life has really changed. It's kind of flipped around, and I kind of feel like I'm starting all over, except this time I have degrees, and the last time I didn't. And I decided that I'm going to record my thoughts, hopefully by subject, but it just depends on kind of where my brain goes. And hopefully that'll help me to organize my thoughts and get my life together so that I can write these stories that the world needs to read. And I took this video here because this is my 2020 vision board. Keep motivating, black, bold, and beautiful, and still we rise. There's some other nice, good quotes on there. Quotes that keep me level-headed, keep me grounded, and help me to remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. And this is last year's vision board. A lot of what I put on there I accomplished. Of course, I got back my queen status because sometimes you can lose yourself in a man, and queens don't do that. So I got back my queen status in 2019. There's a lot of stuff regarding like healthy hair on there, and I got my hair back healthy. And let's see, be the hero of your own story. That's part of that take back story. And love is in the hair. Don't fight, damage, slay it. Strengthen your story. Treat yourself luxuriously. Simply stunning. Grounded in gratitude and joy. And then I have a poem up there that my baby sister wrote. And it's called You Are a Star. And I put it up there because not only do I feel like I'm a star, because of course, but also because I want to give good vibes to everybody. I want to share my positivity with those that I love and then beyond. And so I put it up there because she wrote it and she emailed it to me, and I read it, and that's the way I feel about her. She's a star. She's going to be great. She just has to believe it. And so I put it up there to affirm her and to show her, like, you're a great writer, you're a great poet, and you're a star. And so that's up there. But I have a sticker on the wall that says good vibes only, and the girl's sitting cross-legged for her zen behavior. 2019, we got pretty much everything done. 2020, I want to get it all done. The rise of the Black Queen, here she comes. She's about to do it. Stay tuned.